Manga. If you're watching this as a sentient being, you must have at least read one. Or maybe you've watched an anime adaptation of a manga. It's a great medium where you can tell the most mind-blowing stories that captures the hearts and mind of many across the world. From shonen to seinen to shoujo manga, there's something for everyone in this medium. But could it be possible to create something of that magnitude by yourself? This is a question I ask myself a lot, and you know what? One day I decided to just do it. I made my own manga in black and white for the first time, and I had somewhat of an idea what I signed myself up for. A grueling task of many days of hard work with no true promise of success. Only those insane enough would dare venture to create such a thing. But I decided to do it anyway, with the shonen protagonist mindset, because every artist is a little bit crazy. So let's put on that crazy determined face. And let me tell you how I made my own black and white manga and what I have learned from it. Granted, I have made a comic before, quite a few years ago, comic named which was published on WebToon, but I had never consciously created a black and white proper manga before, only just a comic, not really in manga style. But the fact that the manga was black and white seemed a lot more daunting to me, surprisingly. As an artist, I rely a lot on my knowledge of color and painting to make an appealing artwork. But with a black and white comic, the very drawing itself will have to carry everything. I can't use one of my strengths, which will turn this into a bigger challenge. So when I started, I spent a few days writing up a script. Oh wait, I forgot to tell you that I did this as my school graduation project, so there was quite a set time limit. There was a clear rush to get things done. My number one goal with this manga was to have a 60-page one-shot as the ultimate goal, with a small story arc that has a beginning, middle, and end to it. This manga was going to be a soft reboot / sequel to my old comic, set quite a few years after the original story. Think of it as this series being episode 4 of Star Wars, a new era so to say, but yet it's the beginning. The focus of the story would then instead be put on a new character named Bryn, which I had originally planned to appear in the first story in a later arc down the line. She's a magical horned being of Kanajir, a land far, far away from which she had been exiled. Yes, the drawing you see on the screen is Bryn herself. Unfortunately for her, in this world, being a magical being is something to be feared, and especially by those who are not born with this power. Humans, magical beings and beasts terrorize the world, like a powerful force of nature. This causes Bryn to be judged by the humans she wanders amongst. The humans had devised a plan, however, to make the world safer from danger of the magical beings. Their plan? To capture magical beings and turn them into skilled hunters serving mankind, with the goal eliminating every magical being that forms a threat to mankind. Bryn is one of those captured beings, and while the hunt gives her a great rush and joy, she hates the fact that she's not free. One day, she hopes to break out of this life in chains. Depicting such a story in drawn form is quite an undertaking. You can see here the series of many draft pages I've made. I have to keep them extremely simple, kind of like a napkin sketch, so I can change them whenever. The important part of draft pages are the layout and dialogue. Does the story flow? You should ask yourself this and get some proofreaders. Trust me, revising this draft a few times is worth it. Also, I would recommend sometimes leaving this draft for a few days or even a few weeks so you can look upon it with fresh eyes and determine if this is worth creating. Eventually, I had a draft that I liked, but here came the tough part. Drawing the whole thing. And what a behemoth of a task. Suddenly you have a list of 20 pages or more to finish. No pressure. It was quite a challenge doing all the manga and shading patterns when drawing. I took a lot of inspiration from mangas I loved, like Berserk for instance. Visually, I liked Jujutsu Kaisen as well, as it had a rather sketchy art style, which I enjoy a lot due to it giving off a raw, intense action feeling. I paid close attention to the line thickness and all, but in all honesty, this was really challenging to pull off. It's so easy to default to one style, so certainly this had some growing pains. Here is the finished page I drew. Bryn had just defeated a massive snake creature. She sits on top of its corpse confidently. The villagers she has saved are in shock of her immense power. In the next page, you can see that these humans resort to fearing her and insulting her instead of being thankful. After all, in their eyes, she's the same as that creature she had just defeated. But these insults weigh on Bryn as she suddenly snaps. In her inner dialogue, it is apparent that she has accepted this role of being a monster in the society, but she turned it into her mental shield. And she has a motivation to grow into the strongest, most fearsome monster of all. But there's a deeper reason for why she wishes to grow stronger. Bryn, or Magical Beast 76 in the eyes of the monster hunting society, is punished for this behavior to the people she's supposed to save, and is forced to be relieved of her free roaming privileges, and has to travel with a mysterious skulk. As time progressed, I piled pages upon pages until I had 20 of them. This would serve as part 1 of the 60-page one-shot. These are the pages that are now published on WebToon, which you can find in the link below. Even just 20 pages can be a lot, and if you want to create your own manga, I would advise you to start with something smaller and make smaller projects of 5 pages or 10 at best. I say this because every time you make an iteration, you grow and learn. You see things you would have done differently. It's the pancake rule. Your first pancake will always kind of suck, so keep making more and you'll get better. So your first pancake should not be a massive behemoth. But I wanted this graduation project of mine to be pretty lengthy, so I put that upon myself. With this finished part, I submitted it as my graduation project and passed, of course, and graduated with honors. That was a great feeling, but the adventure had only just begun, really. And that's where I am currently. First of all though, I need a well-deserved break from the manga before I work on part 2 and 3 and complete the one-shot. Because seriously, don't overwork yourself, it can be really bad. Being a mangaka can be extremely taxing, and keep in mind, once a manga is ongoing, they often have a whole team of assistants. So cut yourself some slack, aspiring mangaka. Think of your health. You're doing this all on your own. So for the future, if or when I decide to continue this, the next 40 pages are at least in the works. The script, draft and story are fully completed. It just needs to be drawn. And that takes the most amount of time and resources. This is a full one-man show after all. However, the speed of its continuation being completed depends entirely on the reception of the first 20 pages. I would like to invite you to check out the manga in the description below and let me know what you think of the setup so far, and especially the looks of it. And most of all, would you like to see it continued and reach the conclusion? I would love to hear what you think. And anyhow, currently I'm back in my cave, concocting up something new while I am on my break. Something different looms on the horizon first. I can feel it. Some smaller projects that condenses the quality more due to being shorter, and of course I will be making standalone art pieces. Always love making those. It was a great experiment so far, creating my own manga, and if you are crazy like me, you can do it too. There's nothing essentially stopping you, and don't feel bad if it looks terrible the first time. Just start out small first, trust me. You can always start with a series of short comics before you start doing your big one-piece tale. That way, you won't end up overworking yourself and having the constant feeling that you're procrastinating. Small projects are nice because you get the enjoyment of having something finished way sooner. And you get that enjoyment multiple times because they're so short and quickly one after the other. That will give you a good motivation to keep going. So that's it for today. Enjoy the holidays. Can't believe it's already the holidays. Time flies. And be sure to rest. In the holidays, I love to just be cozy and play some video games. I've been playing Jak and Daxter recently, and it's been really good fun. I love me some platformers. What games do you guys like to play in the holiday period? Let me know in the comments. Take care everyone, and keep that spirit of adventure there, no matter what. See ya!